Recently, a privilege survey at Badger Middle School made the news and went viral. Do you feel this sort of bad publicity could lead to more students enrolling into the district? How do you solve this opting out option? And who in the chain of command is responsible for how this is handled?
Okay. Well, as far as our open enrollment in and out, we have 179 in, 437 out for a net loss of 258 students. And no matter how many times administration explains it, people don't get it. Most people enroll their children out because of convenience for their jobs. If any, it's very few that are enrolling their kids out because of the schools. As far as the chain of command, part of the problem with what happened at Badger was the Common Core Engage New York curriculum that put To Kill a Mockingbird in 8th grade. And while we're talking about it, I just want to touch on the curriculum. Most school districts in Wisconsin do use Common Core, but if we want to be a destination here, we can move away from Common Core and write our own standards. Much of what I've looked at in the English language arts is agenda-driven, pitting one group of people against another. I'll just go over 8th grade. So there's 180 school days, and 40 days in English language arts are spent on refugees, 40 days on taking a stand, and then there's a Shakespeare unit, and then 40 days on sustainability of the U.S. food supply chain, analyzing the author's purpose and evaluating claims in the omnivore's dilemma. It doesn't seem like language arts to me. We can't teach everything. Education is selective. And what types of values are we going to teach? What types of good literature? Our kids, when I homeschooled our kids, they went to public school for high school. They read such good character building novels, and I'm not seeing it in this new Engage New York curriculum. I'm looking at, let's see, grade 10. There's a lot spent on social justice, the United Nations. I have a list here, I can go through it.
I'm sorry, your time's up.
Oh, my time's up. I can go through any of this with anyone if they want to look at it later.
Okay, the privilege survey, I don't think it has any connection to open enrollment out at this point in time. I could be wrong, I don't know how I would measure that. Besides, that happened about a month ago, and open enrollment is decided probably early in the year for the most part. So I don't know that there's a direct relationship. We would have to wait and see. I do agree somewhat with what Mary said about the curriculum being very oriented toward multiculturalism and social justice, so that it's not exactly out of place that the privilege survey was in there. Who's responsible? Well, there's a policy 361.1 that talks about primary sources of curriculum, and the board is supposed to adopt the curriculum. The secondary curriculum, the supplementary materials that might be added to that, there are teams that do that. But then I think there are we losing it here?
Turn your mic off. Oh.
I think there are cases where teachers bring in their own materials, and I wouldn't deny them that possibility, but there has to be some policy or some support for what is appropriate, what is not appropriate, what you take to the principal and say, hey, this is what we want to do. Is this a good idea, or should we do something else? I think there's that third level that needs to be identified in policy and is perhaps missing. I think that's all.
So the first part of the question had to do with whether or not we would see outward enrollment because of the privilege survey. I certainly hope not, and I don't think so. And the reason I don't think so is because, yes, maybe parents were concerned about that, but the administration took care of the issue. And beyond that, there's a whole bunch of good that happens in the district. You know, we hear, unfortunately, in the news or in social media about some of the negatives. But on balance, this is a great district. We have wonderful teachers, wonderful students. And so if you look at it on whole, is this one issue something that we would see a mass exodus over? I don't think so. The second part of the question was, so how do we put a stop to it? Well, I think we also need to make sure that we do a good job of good publicity. Like I said before, so many great things happen in the district. Let's be sure that those get the light of day also, so that everyone gets a balanced approach, a balanced perspective of what happens in the district. And the third part of the question had to do, so who in the chain of command is responsible for that? And I feel very strongly about this, that if there is a concern that a parent has, they should go to the teacher in the classroom, and it should start there. Why? Because the teacher is closest to the issue and most likely has the most power to deal with it. Now let's say there isn't satisfaction. That's why we have a process to go see the principal or to the administration. And then ultimately, and the last step would be the board. And why is that? If the board gets involved in these issues too quickly, it undermines the authority of the teachers. It undermines the authority of the administration, and that's not good. Second thing is, and I pose this as a question, you want us, the part-timers here, to deal with an issue like that? We certainly can, but we have educated professionals who can deal with it on the ground. And the third is, the board should not be in the business of politicizing educational issues. And so that's also something that's very, very important, so it doesn't sway back and forth as boards go back and forth.